Good afternoon, Jank enthusiasts. I'm MBT, and this is 10-Minute Testing. Well, Chaos Origin's been a bit of a bust. While I was super excited to detail the myriad of things that it brought into the metagame, it looks like this pack's lasting legacy is going to be bringing to the States the deck that's the second best at losing to Cooltoon. Well, time to look at the other cards contained between the Yu-Gi slop. Presenting Phantom Knight.
He's a phantom.
So here's the list. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. Despite what some Yu-Gi tubers who shall not be named would have you believe, the TCG is alive and well. And if you're looking to start your journey into paper, there's no better place to begin than Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. With up-to-the-minute reporting on every major tournament worldwide, searchable and interactable pie charts and deck lists, and all the bells and whistles you've come to expect from one of the best draft and collection management sites on the net, Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck is the place to be. Check it out today at www.ygoprodeck.com. Now back to the video. With that, we'll present Phantom Knight. Phantom Knight used to command a very specific position in the metagame, the deck that people assumed was going to be tier 1 after every ban list. Time and time again, a list that hit everything but PK would be heralded as the next great rank 3 format, only for it to dominate for exactly 1 week. It's not hard to see why. This is a deck that eats confused builds alive. It's consistent, it's a powerful combo deck, and most importantly, it kind of builds itself. Unfortunately, in a world where every deck has an uninterrupted one-card build-a-board combo, it's been pretty below average for years. Until now. 2 new things have happened that might warrant a second peek at the PKs. A new wave of support, including the new main deck monster, new extra deck monsters, and new rank-up magics, might just bring the monster lineup into post-COVID, and a preferential typing for both Dominus Purge and Dominus Spark enable a hand trap lineup that's second to none. Yes, it's still making Rusty and his band of Dark Xyz, but it's doing so better than ever before, more often than ever before, and with the ability to pivot into non-archetypal Dark Xyz in a way it couldn't before. Surely that's got to count for something. With that, let's get into the card by card. First up, one of the new main deck monsters, the Phantom Knights of Decayed Cloak. I gotta be honest, playing this card is so strong, it feels like cheating. Legally, of course. If this card is in your hand, you can reveal another Phantom Knights card in your hand to special summon this card, and if normally special summoned, you can add a Phantom Knights monster from your deck to your hand. It can be banished to target an Xyz monster you control, and this turn, you can use that Xyz monster as material for an Xyz summon using its rank as if it were a level. After that, we've got 3 copies of Phantom Knights of Doomed Solarit. If you control no monsters, this can be special from the hand once per turn, and if this card is normally special summoned, you can set a Phantom Knights spell trap from your deck. It can be banished from the graveyard to target up to 2 level or rank 3 dark monsters and increase their levels and ranks by 1. We are playing some old standards, the Phantom Knights of Torn Scales, the Phantom Knights of Silent Boots, 2 Ancient Cloak, 1 Stained Greaves, and a Ragged Gloves. We've got a new RUM, the Phantom Knights Rank Up Magic Requiem, which can target a Phantom Knights or Xyz Dragon monster in your graveyard or banishment, special summon it, negate its effects, then apply the following effect. Either choose a Dark Xyz monster you control and special summon from your extra deck of Phantom Knights or an Xyz Dragon that is 1 rank higher. By using it as material, treat it as an Xyz, summon, transfer it as materials. After that, we've got a Phantom Knights Rank Up Magic Launch, a Reinforcement of the Army of Foolish Burial, a Phantom Knights of Umbrage Veil. If you have a Phantom Knights in your field or graveyard, it can be activated the turn it was set. It can be special as a normal monster, who's a 3, and you can change an attack position monster your opponent controls to defense position. It can be banished from the graveyard to Xyz, summon a dark monster. 1 wing and double Fogblade for non-engine. We're on 3 Fuelos, 3 Forbidden Droplet. This may be one of the greatest Forbidden Droplet decks ever made. 3 Crown. This may be one of the greatest Crown decks ever made. A Called by the Grade, triple Dominus Spark, and triple Dominus Impulse in the extra. We've got Cherubini, IP Masquerena, SP Little Knight, the Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardish, double Break Sword, a Raider's Knight, a Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, Exo Sister Caramel, who you can get to by ranking up, an Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon, a Requiem, which this deck makes exceptionally easily, and a Superstar Slayer Typhon Sky Crisis. We are playing 1 copy of the new Shamanite, which can be made with 2 3s, and if Xyz summoned or if a trap you control is banished, can target one of your banished traps, attach it to the card. Detach any number of materials from this card to target a dark monster in your graveyard or banishment with a level equal to the number detached and special summon it. And finally, 2 copies of the Phantom Knights of Malevolent Scythe. This is 2 3s. You can detach a material from this card to special a Phantom Knights monster from your deck. And if you Xyz summon an Xyz Dragon while this card is in your monster zone, you can add a RUM from your deck to your hand. If destroyed, you can add a banished Phantom Knight card to your hand except an Xyz monster. In the side, we've got 2 Santa Claus, triple Perulia, triple Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, double Droll Knockbird, targeted Floodgate for decks that lose to Ophion, Solemn Judgment, and 3 Solemn Accusation. So with that, let's check out some games. Our match is up against Invoked, and I can't believe we're normal summoning Alistair in the year of our Lord 2026. We're going first, so let me show you what this deck can do. We're going to begin with a copy of Doomed Solaret. That's going to set a copy of Umbrage Veil from deck. We'll flip that up, summon it to our side of the field, and what do you know? We've got 2 3s for a Malevolent Scythe. That'll summon from deck a copy of Decayed Cloak, and we'll use its effect in order to go ahead and grab another one. We'll special out that Silent Boots on our way to a Cherubini. Cherubini effect is going to set a Torn Scales, and we'll activate the Silent Boots in order to grab a Phantom Knight's Wing, which will be pitch fodder for the Torn Scales that is getting reanimated. We will send an Ancient Cloak to the graveyard on our way to Rusty, then activate the Rusty effect in order to send a Ragged Gloves and set a copy of Fogblade. Ancient Cloak is going to grab us the rum, then we'll activate Wing in order to summon back the Decayed Cloak for Decayed Cloak, summon it to our side of the field, and make a Shamanite. We'll activate that effect in order to get back this copy of Phantom Knight's Wing, summon back an Ancient Cloak, and Ragged Gloves in order to bin a Fogblade. That can summon back the Decayed Cloak for the 3rd time this turn as we activate the Solaret effect to modulate them into 4s. That way we can make a Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, trigger the effect of the Malevolent Scythe, and rank up in order to get ourselves a copy of Dark Requiem Xyz. Finally, we can link off our last 2 monsters for an IP Masquerena, set 2, and pass back to our opponent. Our opponent's going to begin with an Alistair the Invoker and Chain Super Polymerization, which is horrifying. They'll go Oceanus, we'll activate the effect of IP Masquerena into an SP Little Knight to banish the Oceanus, then we'll activate Wing in order to bring back this copy of Malevolent Scythe. At point of resolution, we can activate Rank Up Magic Launch, targeting the Scythe to go into Caramel. As they terraforming, we can Caramel. Unfortunately for us, every card in their hand is good. They'll go Invocation, that forces the Impulse, and the last card in their hand is Sacred Spirit Sword Iwas. That's going to summon Divine Spirit of the Law from deck, but of course we can finally deal with that with a Fog Blade. We had more points of interaction than they had cards in hand, which means we win. We will special out the Ancient Cloak and the Silent Boots and the Decayed Cloak and the Torn Scales, and from here it's just a hop, skip, and a jump to lethal, courtesy of our old pal Breaksword. Let's pop that Iwas, trigger the effect of the Breaksword, bring a couple of guys back, and they become 4s in order to activate their effect on field and overlay for a Raider's Knight. Raider's Knight can make Arc Rebellion, that's 3k, and doing a little math, that should be enough. 16, 21, 3, 26 for well over lethal. God, playing this deck really does feel like 2021 never ended. Well, that's how the deck performs on the play, but what does it do on the draw? For Game 2, we are playing against S-Force, a deck I maintain is actually pretty strong. Our opponent's going to begin with a copy of Bridgehead. Afterwards, going to special out Signify, one of the new good cards, and following that, they'll use Retroactive in order to make a Night Catcher. They'll activate that effect, then use the effect of the Night Catcher and the Retroactive in order to make a Mystify. Origin comes down next, down comes Platina, whose effect will activate, targeting this copy of Night Catcher and bringing it back. Because there's a Spellcaster involved, let's make DMD. We'll banish a Rapachi Amaru, send a Gravitino, set 2, and pass. We will draw for turn here, and that's not a bad one. We're going to begin with a copy of Solaret. They're going to go Mystify. That's irritating. It's going to move us over. We will set a copy of Umbrage Veil, then activate the effect into the Gaze of Timaeus, and we're going to have to deal with the Gooner. Down comes Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, but not too big of a deal. We can switch it to defense position, activate the effect of the Breaksword, targeting this copy of Nightcatcher, and run into an infinite impermanence. Sheesh, all right. We are just farming interactions here as we go for our Torn Scales. We'll activate the effect, sending a copy of Ancient Cloak, and grab a copy of the Rum. We will bring back this copy of Torn Scales from the yard and go SP Little Knight, targeting the Nightcatcher. Nightcatcher effect will tag into a Night Chaser, and we'll go for the effect of the Decayed Cloak as they go for the Night Chaser. We will use the effect of the SP Little Knight and force out the last point of interaction, here the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, so they'll get the Platina, and we'll summon the Decayed Cloak to our side of the field. They'll trigger Lurie and Platina as we trigger Decayed Cloak. They'll summon back Laplacewell, and we will go ahead and grab a Phantom Knight to our hand. Their board is now completely full. They're going to go for the Laplacewell. We'll go for the Umbrage Veil to tag into a Malevolent Scythe as they go Gravitino, then activate the Gravitino effect for an S-Force Bridgehead. Now, can we clean up this board? Well, the Spark is going to help. We're going to use the effect of the Malevolent Scythe to get a copy of Ragged Gloves. We'll go Silent Boots, activate the effect of the Sorlet in order to modulate, and down comes Raider's Knight. We'll activate the Raider's Knight effect, and then we'll activate the effect again in order to go into Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon. Trigger the effect of the Malevolent Scythe, trigger the effect of the Arc Rebellion, and what do you know, that's 15,000. All right, that'll do it. So, unsurprisingly, the name of the game here is Negates on the play, OTKs on the draw. It's time for Game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's playing what else but Cool Tune, and we are going first into some interaction. We'll begin with a copy of Doom Solaret. We're going to set a copy of Umbrage Veil, use the effect in order to summon it to our side of the field, and then we can, of course, overlay for a Phantom Knights of Malevolent Scythe. That's going to be met with a Effect Veiler, which is scary. We'll go for Decayed Cloak, summoning it to our side of the field, then activating the effect in order to grab a copy of Torn Scales. Down comes Silent Boots into Cherubini, Cherubini effect in order to send a Torn Scales, and then afterwards we can use Silent Boots in order to grab a copy of Phantom Knight's Wing, which will be material to send off the Torn Scales. We're going to reanimate. We'll activate the effect in order to send a Ragged Gloves into a Rusty Bardish. We'll activate the effect in order to set a Fogblade, activate the Ancient Cloak we sent in order to grab a Stained Greaves into Wing, bring back Malevolent Scythe, summon Stained Greaves, and activate the effect of the Solaret in order to get those into 4s. Down comes Dark Rebellion Xyz. We'll trigger the effect of the Malevolent Scythe for the rank up. We'll go for Ragged Gloves in order to send a copy of Fogblade, Fogblade to bring back the Decayed Cloak, and then after that we can link off for an IP Masquerena. Finally, we'll normal summon the Torn Scales and go for the rank up, at which point our opponent finally gets a chance to deploy the Delta. Pretty common in these decks nowadays, but we can go Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, targeting their monster before we go to the end step, keeping it at 31. That's fun. They're going to go for a Rico first action. That's probably worth a Fogblade, but because these cards are ridiculous, you can still sync with them. As a result, we're going to go for the SP Little Knight and try and cut them off their normal. Unfortunately for us, they have both the Synchro Overtake and a Cool Tune Rotary plus an Extender here. They're going to go ahead and reveal the Overtake for a mix. They'll trigger the effect of the mix. We'll go for the effect of the Little Knight in order to get it off the field, and they will grab a copy of Q to hand. Finally, they will Rotary normal out the Q, and oh god, we got to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, Forbidden Droplet might be enough, but we know they have the Rotary, which means they can at least get to one of their monsters. Because of that, we have to force the Quick Xyz now for Shamanite, so we can use the Rusty Bardish's effect in order to pop their last remaining monster. They'll scoop, and we'll make it out of game 1. Call me crazy, but I'm not particularly confident in this best of 3, mostly because even though we won that last one, we had just run out of interactions, and our opponent was playing with a 4-card hand, courtesy of hand traps. We are going second this time, and our opponent's hand looks kind of Balatro-y, but that's fine in this strategy. They're going to begin with a copy of Rico for Rotary. They'll use the Rotary for an extra normal on this copy of Q. Q will trigger. That'll grab them a copy of Ash from deck, and then what do you know? They can make a Trackmaker. Trackmaker and Q and Rotary, and what are we going to have to deal with here? Well, first and foremost, they're going to get a JJ Cool Tune. They look at the hand, which just means this Called by the Grave is so much worse, and then they'll banish this Dominus Spark and give us back this copy of Ancient Cloak. JJ Cool Tune comes out next for a copy of Mix off the Ash Blossom. Mix is going to trigger here in order to add back, then go for a Remix and a Zaylin. They'll set a card and pass turn. We will draw for turn, and I don't know. All right, we're going to begin with a copy of Torn Scales. They will Remix, will Called by, but of course that is met with a bell. They could have done a million things in order to stop me here, but as a result, they will activate the effect of the Mix, and then afterwards Cool Tune Synchro as we chain Crown. We can target the Cool Tune Mix, which prevents them from doing something really sexy, but they can still go Clip into Rico into RS, which triggers Clip and banishes the Dark Rebellion Xyz. Are you kidding me? All right, we're going to go for Torn Scales. They'll go for RS. They'll go for Zaylin in order to keep it off the field. We'll go for the Phantom Minds of Ancient Cloak. They'll Ash, and we'll scoop it up. So it's time for that all-important game 3, and ooh, is that 3 hand craps and a 1-card charter? Okay, we've opened good, but who knows if it's going to matter. We're going to begin with a copy of Decayed Cloak. We'll activate the effect in order to grab from deck and hand a copy of Torn Scales. Down comes Silent Boots into Fuelos. Oh god, okay. Well, Reinforcement of the Army will get us an Ancient Cloak. We'll normal summon the Torn Scales, activate the effect. That's going to send a copy of Wing to the graveyard. We'll make Rusty the hard way. Then we'll activate the effect into Harmonia. All right. Well, down goes Wind Pegasus at Ignister. We will set a Fogblade. We'll activate the effect of the Silent Boots in order to grab a copy of Fogblade. We'll Ragged Gloves in order to send a copy of Umbrage Veil. Then we can Ancient Cloak. We'll set to activate the Doomed Solaret on our side of the field for a Rank Up Magic Requiem and pass turn. Our opponent's going to draw for turn. It's a Pot of Desires. They will activate that. Not a lot we can do. Then they'll normal summon a Cool Tune Mix. That is worth a crown to us. They will chain KTS, which enables them to dodge it. Next, they will be able to activate the effect of the Rico that they used in order to deal with one of our back row, alongside the Mix in order to deal with our front row. They're going to go for the effect of the Rotary in order to normal summon out a Q, and this is looking pretty over. Out comes Rico. Rico effect is going to grab them. An additional Rotary on their way to Trackmaker and Q, and Rotary and Trackmaker. They're just going to drown us in advantage. Even if we got another turn, even if we weren't getting OTK'd here, I struggle to think how we'd get back into it. They're going to banish the Solaret and give me the trap card. Down comes Zaylin. They will deal with our back row and get in for 15, 25, 28, 17. Now we can try to body block, but they Cool Tune Synchro to trigger Zaylin, and we'll scoop it up. So we're back with the deck, and yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the new cards are crazy going first and second. Going first, it gets new lines, more engine, more starters, easy access to Dark Requiem. The deck gets to end on 3 monster negates because of that card. But going second, you just get to make Arc Rebellion. It's an easy OTK even through Crown. 2, generics. You get to play Pulse and Spark, and Rank a Magic Launch lets you access floodgates like Ophion or negates like Caramel, which can pivot in between matchups. 3, okay, yeah, time for the other shoe to drop. We're not playing it, but the deck can also Kali Yuga Lock. I don't like this build because it loses to Fallen of the Virtuous and can't be done until the main phase, but keep it in mind. And the cons. 1, the deck likes to search 3 to 4 cards, so Droll is pretty killer into... And the cons. 1, the setup isn't invincible. The deck likes to search 3 or 4 cards, so Droll is pretty killer into low engine count hands. A lot of the end board is centralized into Dark Requiem, so a Droplet and a Crown or a Kaiju are devastating. 2, the deck doesn't really have access to a spell Trap Negate in Archetype, which makes the board a lot weaker. You can get to one, but you'd have to play a large Raid Raptor engine to do so, and it's just not feasible. And 3, most of the deck's interaction outside of Dark Requiem targets, so decks like Malice and Cool Tune can dodge interactions and just make you waste them. Overall, the deck feels more complete now, for sure, when with an Overframe coming in a couple of months that eases a few of the deck's issues, it might be a cute off-meta option. I'd probably wait till then, though. So that's that. Thanks so much for watching. These 10-minute testings are made possible by, and occasionally suggested by, my patrons, some of whom have spent a lot of money to be mentioned at the end of this video. Those are Van, Unban Meowmoo, Absolutely Fran, Elena Tincher, Allison Elliott, Ally, Astagafa Jas, APK Pearly Tier 0, Brett Henry, Cap, Cool Name, Daniel Howell, Dark Rebel XYZ, El Gravo, Emiliano Deverio, NB Adams, Erarizuku, Fabrizio Petroli, Galactic Joey, Pergalicious, Jackie Z, JP, Cole Offline, Legal Rights, Lucas Rosas, Luis Hernandez, Matthew M. Derezo, MBT Hablando en Español, MBT Plema Dolce, Mike Carlotti, N54 Lionheart, Nacho, Pombo, Pyramid Artisan Fieldcloths TCG Accessories, Rohan Doge, Rose Lapine, Serpentax, Shifter.mp8, Sly Ninja 43, Troy Says By Erasure Is Gay, Who's Nick, Yeth, Yoven and Nunik, Yuki Kazami, Yuki, and Zircon Sun. Couldn't have done it without you.